Now that you've said yes, it's time to discuss a few things with your mister before you start planning appointments to check out venues and looking for your wedding dress. Have a discussion including these topics to determine where you and your fiancé's priorities are. How soon do you want to get married? Do you want to get married in a year from now, and is this realistic? Or do you want to get married in 2 years from now when you have a little more money saved up and more planning time? Are you willing to get married on a Friday or a Sunday? If you get married on a Friday or Sunday, you'll likely be able to save money on the venue cost because Saturdays are the most popular day to get married. Keep in mind though, if you get married on a Friday, guests may not be able to take off time from work to attend your ceremony, and if you get married on a Sunday, guests probably won't be partying all night at the reception because they'll have to wake up early for work the next day. What time of year or season would you be happiest getting married in? Often, brides will say, well, I want to get married in the summer, but they don't think at all about what goes into a summer wedding. Consider the temperature around this time of year. Will it be boiling hot, which means you'll be sweating and have to provide bottles of water to your guests during the I-dos? Will it be autumn, where, at least in most parts of North America, the fall colors are beautiful oranges and reds, but it also starts to get pretty chilly? Think about both you and your fiancé's professions and which season works best with your schedules and your lives. In Canada, the most popular season to get married in is the summer season because it's warm, people are happier, flowers are blooming. But if the summer is the most popular season to get married in, this means all of your vendors will have higher prices because they can. If you're trying to keep your budget on the lower end, consider getting married in the off-season. Venues will usually offer off-season discounts, and vendors will be more willing to come down on their prices because likely they'll need the work. Do you want an indoor or an outdoor ceremony? Outdoor weddings are great and beautiful, and a lot of couples choose outdoor wedding ceremonies, but consider the unknown weather factor and how much this will affect you up until your wedding day. Indoor ceremonies obviously eliminate the weather factor. Lighting and noise are controlled, and everyone will feel comfortable with the temperature as long as the venue has AC or heat. But depending on the size of the venue, you may be limited on how many people can attend your ceremony, and sometimes in churches, they put ceremonies back to back. So you have, let's say, an hour allotted to your ceremony. Then you've got to get out of there because another wedding's taking place right after yours. If either of you are religious, what sort of ceremony and traditions are important to you or your family that you'd like to include in your wedding? Sometimes couples of different religious backgrounds will do double ceremonies. Some couples will find it easy to incorporate both religious traditions, while others may have to really prioritize and think not only about what they want, but what their parents want. So discuss this with your groom-to-be sooner than later, so you can both decide on which traditions you'd like and which traditions you probably don't need to include in your special day. And remember, especially if either of your families will be paying for part of your wedding, their opinions will definitely need to be considered when deciding on traditions. Talk to your fiancé about if there's a particular theme you'd like to go with for your wedding. Do the two of you like the rustic, naturey look, or do you prefer classic and timeless? We'll discuss themes later on, but consider going with a theme because it can make planning way easier and really reflect and carry the feel of you as a couple. Talk to your fiancé and figure out, what's the budget for your wedding? Are you looking to go cheap and very practical and spend under 10 grand? Which can be done, it's hard, but it can be done. Or are you looking to book a nice venue, have the typical bells and whistles that come along with a wedding, and spend around what is typical in Toronto to be 25 to 50 grand? The average cost of a wedding in Canada in 2015 was $33,000, and in America was $26,000. If these numbers haven't freaked you out, great. If you almost fell off your chair, well, we'll be discussing where and how you can save some money. But know that if you want to have photo, video, flowers, decor, fancy cake, and so on, that this is a standard cost for all of those things. Do you have any money set aside, or can you come up with a plan to put $1,000 away each month that can go towards your wedding? Although this may be an awkward conversation, have a discussion with both of your parents or families about whether or not they'll be contributing anything to your wedding budget. It's better to have this discussion early on than to wait around hoping they'll give you some money towards your big day, because if you assume they're going to and then they don't, you'll be put in a much tougher financial situation. Also, keep in mind, if they are contributing to paying for some of your special day, this often comes with the unspoken rule that they get to invite a certain amount of guests and have a say on most of the decisions that you make for your wedding day. It was once a tradition in many parts of the world that the bride's parents would pay for the wedding. This isn't the case anymore. Both parents, if financially able to, will usually contribute to the wedding costs nowadays. With your fiancé, create a guest list so you have a rough idea of how many people are going to be coming to your wedding, or at least be invited to your wedding. You'll probably have a way higher number than you expect. Having an idea of your guest count is necessary when choosing your venue, which is one of the first big decisions you'll need to make. Also decide if you're allowing children and babies at the wedding. I'd suggest no kids or babies. This way, your guests will actually have the night off and be able to enjoy themselves at your wedding and reception. Let loose a little bit. And no babies means no crying and screaming during the ceremony or speeches. If you choose to include kids at your wedding, let the individuals you're allowing to have their kids there know, and try to limit the amount of wee ones that you are having at your wedding. Basically, don't let everybody bring their kids. Maybe just your closest friends and family. Before you make any big decisions, it's good for you and your fiancé to write down the must-haves for your wedding, the things that aren't negotiable, and the things that you're willing to sway on. Perhaps it's really important to you to get married in the fall, and that's non-negotiable, whether it's a year from now or 3 years from now. That's something you should agree on before you start checking out venues with your parents and having them give their input. My non-negotiables would be get married in the fall, have a dessert table, get married within a year, have a band at the wedding, have chandeliers or twinkle lights as the decor. My negotiables would be how many guests we invite, whether or not we have a cake, the budget for flowers, and what kind of party favors we're going to give our guests. Writing down the non-negotiables and the negotiables will make your decision-making process much easier and help you remain firm on the things you want and help you be aware of what you're okay to give up on or be open to changing. The 10 topics you must discuss with your fiancé in the early stages of your wedding planning are: how soon do you want to get married? Should we get married on a Friday or a Sunday to potentially save some money on the venue? What season should we get married in? What religious traditions should we incorporate into our ceremony and our wedding? Do you want an indoor or an outdoor ceremony? What wedding theme should we go with? Are we allowing kids and babies? What's our budget? Are our parents contributing to the budget? And lastly, write a list of your must-haves and your negotiables.